Right. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another session of mobility. Today is landing on a special week. It's Mental Health Awareness Week, and myself, Michelle, coming from the Canadian Mental Health Association, I'm really passionate about opening up the conversation surrounding our mental health and just not only checking in with ourselves, but checking in with the people around us, our colleagues, our family members, our friends, and truly asking that question, how am I doing? And how are you doing? So take the time. I always say recognize any like changes that you may notice and open up that compassionate conversation, right? The more that we can kind of normalize talking about sort of our mental health and our emotional state, the more we can kind of reduce that stigma and encourage people to get the help that they so much deserve. So glad to be here to do some self-care for ourselves and some mobility. Today, our activity code for today is Mobility 61. So just keep that in mind, Mobility 61. And we got Max here joining us again. All right, so let's get started today. We're going to start on our feet, and all you need really is a mat. Today, we're not going to be using any equipment or any elevation or chairs or anything like that. So just yourself and your mat, or if you've got carpet, that works as well too. So we're going to start standing up. And all we're going to do to start off is just work on some side bends, okay? So hands are going to be at the side, and what we're going to do is just slightly shift that hand down our thigh, and then we're switching that direction. You should feel a nice pull down your side there. So our QL joint that kind of attaches our back to our hip, that always feels nice and loosening that up. Mine's always very tight, so I find even just slightest bend, especially on one side, just feels really nice. So we're going to start off with just some nice gentle bends. And then we are going to hold it when we come down to the ground in a little while, but for now we're going to be standing up. Good, let's try one more each side. And just go as far as feels good for you. Okay, next you can put your hands on your hips, and we're just going to start with some hip circles. Okay, trying to get that rotational movement, and we want to really focus on leading with the hips as opposed to just hinging and bringing that upper body forward. So that's still going to naturally come forward, but we want to make sure that we lead with the hips here, really feeling it fit into like each joint. Oh, Max, he thinks we're having a party. No, we're not dancing here today. Let's try one big circle this way, and then we're going to switch the opposite direction. So come back around. It's nice because we kind of typically move like frontwards, backwards maybe, but not typically in this rotational movement intentionally, right? So we're going to spend some time there. Good. One more big circle around. Good. All right. Next up, we're going to come to our cactus arm. So our arms are going to be at 90 degrees. And what we're going to do is just really picture opening up that chest, keeping the shoulder blades sort of down and back. And all we're going to do here is keep a slight bend in the knees, and we're going to be hinging forward. Okay, so we want to try to keep a nice neutral spine. We're not overarching, right? So we just want to hinge. And we're keeping our hands up like this to help cue us to have that neutral spine, right? Sometimes we want to hinge if we start rounding. So we really want to engage that upper back and make sure that that's flat so that we hinge safely. And you should feel this right into the back of our legs, which are our hamstrings. You also feel your glutes getting a nice pull and a stretch there as well. Good, let's try 5 more. We almost get like an isometric hold with our shoulders as well. Your shoulders might start to feel this. 2. And last one here. Good, keeping it nice and fluid. We'll do some static holding stretches near the end. Okay, next up, we're gonna do some ankle circles. So I'm just gonna hold on to my wall there, and we're gonna start going into that clockwise position. We did these last week, I think the week before too. We are going to come down and get a little bit of more mobility into our ankles, and we're going to do that from the ground. But for now, let's just get that rotation in. Oh, it's so nice to see. I'm just looking out the window as I do this. And all the leaves are starting to come out. It feels like it's been so late this year. All right, let's try the other side. So we're going in the opposite direction, same foot, opposite direction. Good. All right, switching to the other side. Starting with those small circles, you might hear some cricks, some cracks. But again, if any pain, just adjust and ease off that range of motion. Let's try the other side. Oh, Max interrupted the ankle circles with a head boop. Look, he won't stop. All right, that should be good there. All right, Max, you want to come down and do some mobility? It was really cold when we started, and now it's really hot in here. So, okay, let's still stay standing, okay, because we are going to be coming down in a moment here. But I just want to warm up our legs, okay, because we are going to get into some deep stretches down there, but we're going to take our feet a little bit wider. And what we're going to do is go into, ow, Max, now he's biting me, lateral lunge, some entertainment as we mobilize. What we're going to do here is just shift side to side, so feet stay wide, and we're sinking the hips back. So just a side view. Okay, I'm really like folding at the hips and then hinging forward. I don't want my knee to push over my toe. I want it to just sink back, right? So it stays in line with where my foot's going. Our feet are facing forward, and we're just getting that nice lateral movement here. You might feel sort of the inner thigh starting to warm up as well. Good, let's try 3 more on each side. 2. And last one. Good. All right. Shake it out. Shake it out. You might want to do a couple leg swings before you come down. Ooh. All right. I'm going to scooch this camera down so you can see me from the ground here. But we're going to come down to our mat or the carpet, whatever works for you. Okay. And what we're going to do next is doing some of that ankle immobilization. Okay. So what we're going to do here is we're going to have kind of our legs at like 90 degrees. So one's going to be out and one toe is going to be facing forward. Okay. And what we're going to do here is just lean into it. Okay. So we're just rocking back and forth on the leg that's facing out, or the toe that's facing out. And we're just rocking back and forth. If this feels really, really tight, again, take it at your own range. Okay, but what we're doing here is you should feel that stretch into the calf, but we're also mobilizing the ankles here. So we're just rocking. You can support yourself. Another option too is you can add some pressure onto that knee to get a little deeper into this. This is a good sign too if you're finding that it feels really, really tight. It's good information. It might be impacting sort of your ability to get down into your squat position. A lot of times it could be that ankle mobility and also that the tightness in the calf, right? So we're just loosening that up. Go do some squats after, see if it helps. And then we're just gonna hold. So hang here. You can put that pressure on that knee again if you want a little bit more of that like deeper stretch. It'll just push it down a little more. Good. Just hang out. How's everyone doing? Good. Okay, we can just sit back on our butt and we're just gonna kind of shake that out. Oh, you can feel the blood flowing. That feels a lot better. My goodness. I didn't think I needed as much as I did right now. All right, so same thing on the other side this time. So we're just going to, again, find that toe that's facing outwards, and we're going to be rocking back and forth. I find this side's much tighter for me. Again, you might hear some clicks and creaks. That's okay. Okay, are we ready to hold this one? So find that position, that range that feels good for you. As we like count and hold it, you can also like get a little deeper, right? Use that breath, breathe in, sink into it. Good. I don't know if anyone else has noticed any more ants. I keep seeing like little ants randomly. They're getting into the house now that it's spring. Everything's coming out. Good. All right, 10 seconds. All right. Okay. Before we get more into some groin and hip work too, I want to stretch out the bottom of our feet. So what we're going to do here is we want to flex our toes down, okay? And all we're doing is sitting back. Now, this can feel like a little bit of an aggressive stretch. You might feel it right here. So again, just adjust. You might be able to come all the way back. You might even be able to like come back into there. But just find that position, okay? So we're going to get into that foot stretch. We're going to hold it here for 45 seconds. I'm just going to make sure my timer's out and ready. Okay, so back onto those feet, stretching them out. This one again might feel a little not so great. You've got really, really tight feet. Another great thing that you can do at home is rolling it out with like a lacrosse ball or a tennis ball or like a rolling pin. I'm just going to show the side view here as I talk. So yeah, straighten the arc of that foot there. We're going to feel that. So yeah, you can roll it out. That will help loosen it. We have a really powerful joint in the middle of our foot, okay, right in that sort of arc. And if that's really, really tight, again, it can help, exacerbate any tightness in the ankles and the knees, into the hips. So it really is small but mighty. So just relieving that can help support. Okay, good. Come on out. Okay, this time we're going to put our feet flat on the ground and we're just going to do the same thing. Okay, so you might want to lean back for this to get more range. So we're going to stretch out the top of our feet. Okay, again, this might be good there. You can come a little further down. You're going to get more quads that way too, but just kind of take it where it feels good for you. And breathe. As we lean back, you can keep, again, that nice neutral spine. So we don't want to be like rounding or like overarching, right? Just finding that neutral. And again, this might feel good here. You might feel good down here. You just find what works for you. Breathe, 10 more seconds. Good. All right, you might feel your quads feeling a little bit better there too. And if you want, you can, again, just shake it out. Oh, that feels so much better into the front. We also have one of the best, like, little secrets, not even a secret, but it's like a spot that you don't think you ever need a massage. But I would say if you ever go to your massage therapist or you got someone at home that will do it for you, massaging the tibia right there. So like that muscle that right aligns with the tibia, it is like, it can get really, really tight, and like massaging that, you just feel like this really neat sensation. And does it ever feel really, really good? And it's, again, a spot that usually people don't think about. And when they get it done, they're like, oh my gosh, like, what is that? Okay, so we're going to stay kneeling here, and we're going to go into that side bend that I talked about. So we did kind of a fluid dynamic side bend before. This time what we're going to do is hold it. Okay, so we're bringing one arm overhead, trying to, again, really open up that QL joint. Okay, attaches our back to our hip bone. So we're going like this. You can keep your hand propped up, or if you feel like you can get a little bit more range, you can come down. But we just want to avoid that we're not like coming way up. Like, we still want to keep seated. So I'm going to stay here. This side's really, really tight. So this is enough stretch for me. You could also get like a yoga block if you want to not come down to your forearms like all the way. You can still rest the forearm on like a set of books or a yoga block to help get a little bit more. Good, let's bring that hand up and we're gonna try the other side. So reaching overhead. See, I can get a lot more in this one. You have to take your hand out a little bit more, but again, really focusing on pulling with the lat, right? Opening up that side. Very good. All right, shake it out. We're just going to do a little bit of a rotation before we move on. So we're going to take one hand. Actually, let's come down on our butt and get a little bit of our glutes in here as well. So we're going to extend one leg, bring the other leg over, and we're using that back hand to help prop ourselves up. So you should feel a nice rotation in that thoracic spine, but we're also feeling a lot of our glutes here. Okay, might be some of our IT band. Let's hold that for 30 more seconds. So really trying to lift. We don't want to be rounding and hunched over here. Drop the shoulders down and back, lift that chest, and then rotate from that trunk. And that's where you'll really find the most in this stretch, okay? So if we start to lose that, we're not really kind of pulling from that hip socket, right? So we want to make sure that we keep elongated. We're holding it. So we've got 3, 2, and 1. Good. Let's extend the other leg and switch it over. So same thing. We're just going to rotate using that back hand to prop us up. You might be able to just go like this too and stay like that, but to get foot flat, rotate, support or don't support, whatever you need there. We're just hugging that leg in so that we can pull a little bit more, like our knee towards our chest, so we can get a little deeper stretch into that glute. Good. All right, shake it out. Okay, next step, we're going to be focusing a little bit more on that hip and that groin area that I spoke about. So we're going to start with an adductor stretch, okay? We're going to go into a goalie stretch after, which is a little bit more of a deeper stretch. But for now, we'll start off like this. So we're going to start off one side. Our leg's going to be extended. Our foot's going to be flat on the ground, okay? So you can start up here. It's going to feel less aggressive. As we rock into it, you're going to feel deeper of a stretch. So we're just rocking back and forth, again, keeping that spine neutral. If you want to hold at any point too, it's going to feel a lot deeper down here. Okay, so again, just feel with it. That's why I suggest the rocking motion, because then it will help to ease into the stretch. We stretched out our toes because I'm kind of, as you can see, propping mine up. So it already feels a little bit better if we didn't spend some time doing that. Good. All right, 5 seconds. And 2, 1. Good. Come back in, walk it in slowly, and then we're going to try the other side. Okay, so same thing that we did. Again, trying to center over. Rocking into it. Step. Hold for 10 seconds. walk it in slowly. There we go. Okay, now we're going to sort of upgrade that stretch into something a little deeper. Okay, so what we're going to do here is go into our goalie stretch. Okay, if you have any pain in the knees, like have some support for sure. So we're coming out. Okay, both of our feet are going to be facing away from us, and our knees are going to be wider. Okay, and what we're going to do here is just start again, sinking the hips back. It's going to feel a lot more aggressive the further back we go. So you can spend it in the top range here. Okay, I'll show you the side view. And then as we start to ease into the stretch, we're going to hold it for a minute. As we start to ease into this stretch, you can see if you can get a little bit more. So see, feet are wider, toes are pointing out. Okay, and this is tough. This is a tough one. So again, go at your own pace. We want to make sure we're not overarching, like keep the spine neutral and sinking back. So you come down to your forearms, back up a bit. Come down to your forearms, okay? Or you can prop yourself up. Again, take some time. Trying to keep those heels flat on the ground too. Breathe. We're halfway there. Great hip opener here. We've got 10 more seconds here. Hang in, hang in. And 3, 2, 1. Good. All right, slowly walk that one in too. See how that feels. Woo. Feels a little low, so you can try your hip circles. All right, nice stuff. Okay, let's continue on. And we just did like more sort of an inner groin stretch area. We're going to get the front of the hip here too. So what we're going to do is find that kneeling position. And when we go into our hip flexor stretch, we want to make sure that our back's not like arched. We want to tuck our tailbone in, fire up that glute, and feel that pocket open. So your hip should be nice and flat, okay? So we're just going to find that hip flexor stretch. I'm going to hold it here for a moment. And when you're ready, you can put your hands on your head, and we're just going to rotate. We're going to rotate towards our knee here, loosening up that thoracic spine again. Keeping that glute engaged. Let's try 5 more rotations on this side. Good. And let's switch to the other. So again, tucking that tailbone in, firing up that glute, feeling the pull from the pocket there. Find that nice deep stretch. And when you're ready, just like we did before, so rotating towards that knee. Very good. All right, how's everyone feeling? We're doing okay? All right, good stuff. Okay, so we've had like a theme of very much like side bending, loosening up that QL joint like I talked about. So we're gonna go into that 90-90, and you know that I love a good 90-90. It's one of my favorite stretches. But this time, instead of hinging forward, what we're gonna do here is just focus on leaning to that back leg, okay? So what we're gonna do is just, again, find that back leg and add that bend to it, and you'll find that you get a little bit more. So like when we come forward, we're really feeling that front glute, right? When we come this way, we're going to be feeling a little bit more into that hip pocket. Okay, we also might feel a little bit of a stretch over in this side in that pocket. You can add that arm and you get a way deeper stretch. Good, slowly come out of that. All right, good stuff. Okay, let's switch over to the other side. Actually, while we're here, let's stretch out the front one too, because that needs some loving. We haven't done a ton of glute stretches. We've done a little bit of hip openers. So folding forward over that shin, squaring up the shoulders so we're not way over here. All right, we want to make sure that those shoulders are in line with that shin. Good. And we're just going to scooch back and switch to the other side. So same thing. We're starting with that rotation to the side leg and that 90 degrees. So front leg's at 90 degrees, back leg's at 90 degrees. And we're going to add that stretch. Good, slowly bring that hand down. Okay, we haven't really done much hamstring work here. So what we're gonna do is find that downward dog, but before, let's just do a few cat-cow positions. So when we're doing that, finding that tabletop, we're rounding, and then we're opening. Arcing that back, looking up to the ceiling. I find that sometimes with those hinge and bending movements, it's either like your hamstrings are really tight, so it's hard to really hinge into that, or your spine and lumbar is really, really tight. So you're wanting to hinge, but that stiffness in there might prevent it, or it could be both, right, altogether. Good. Okay. So next up, we're going to find that downward dog. So we're just going to tuck our toes under. We're going to lift up those hips. And again, we want to try to really elongate that spine. And we're just going to walk this. Okay. So bringing the heel up and down, really folding from those hips. Our head's coming between our arms here. Good. All right, good. And let's just release the spine there too. So we're going to come down onto our stomach, and then we will stretch out our quads too. Okay, so what we're going to do is just come up to our forearms. This might feel okay already here. If we want a little bit more, we can come up to our hands. And as we breathe, picture that back just like melting into the ground. We want to keep the shoulders down. So we're not like this, right? Nice posture, chest is proud. Breathing and lowering. Let's try it one more time. So lowering, releasing it, and then we're pushing back up. lowering back down, and we'll push the hips back. Coming up onto our knees. What we're going to do here is a shoulder 90-90. Okay, so we're going to work on rotating and loosening up the shoulders here. So cactus arms or 90 degrees. And what we're going to do is bring one hand down and we're going to switch. So we're just rotating there. This will give you some information too on that rotation of the shoulder. So if you're finding that one hand's harder to get down, there might be something going on there, a little tightness, maybe a little impingement, or if you had a shoulder injury, there could be something. But just kind of see the differences between sides. Try a couple more here. Good, and shake it out. We are going to do another overhead shoulder exercise. So before we do, let's just stretch it out. So dropping the shoulder, we can even get a nice release into our trap here. So the same side that our hand's waving towards, we're just going to dip our head towards. Again, trying to keep that shoulder down and back. Try the other side. Good. All right. So we're going to go into some shoulder drills here. So they're called our high kneeling shoulder cars. All right. So what we're going to do here, back up a bit, is we're going to come up. Our thumb's going to come facing up towards us. As we get to the top of the motion, we're going to rotate and bring that thumb down. Okay. Same thing. Thumb comes down. As we rotate, we flip it to the front and end. Okay, so we're not only doing a big, nice arm circle, we're adding that additional rotation in. We want to do a tall kneeling one so that we get that range. If we were like short kneeling, we wouldn't be able to get all the way around, right? Our hand would touch the ground. Let's try one more. Good. And switching to the other side. Oh, I always feel a little creaky when I do these shoulders. Two more after this one. Awesome. All right, shake it out. We're just going to try some arm swings here. We're going to open up the chest. So just swing the arms front and back. You might feel a stretch in the chest as well, front of the delts. Shake out any tension that you may be experiencing. One more time. Good. All right, so we're going to do one more here to finish things off. I think that's almost time. We're going to go into a child's pose. We got a little bit of time too. Let's go to that side rotation, actually. Okay, we've got time. We've got time. So we're going to open up that chest. We haven't spent a lot of time opening up that chest. So again, one of my favorites here, hands stacked on top, and we're just going to open that up. Again, if you'd like, you can stack that bottom knee on top of that shin just to get a little deeper anchor. trying to get our upper back nice and flat to the ground so that we really can get that stretch into that thoracic spine, but also too into the chest. Nice long hold here. All right, when you're ready, bring those knees back up to center. And we're gonna switch to the other side here, so opening up. Again, if you want a little bit more, I love doing this, just I find that it brings my top knee closer to the ground, and then I can really rotate. Good, let's take one knee in. I'm gonna stretch out. Hopefully you can see me okay there. So we're gonna keep one leg extended. And this one I like to keep very fluid. So you can kind of do some semicircles. You can bring it out to the side. You can cross it over. You're gonna feel different parts of that hip and that glute really get a release in this one. Let's try the other side. Good. Shake them out. Shake out those legs. Sit on up. And I hope you all feel a little bit looser, a little bit more mobile, maybe help release some of the stress that you have going on in your day. But I just wish you all a beautiful week, and make sure, check in with yourself, check in with others around you, and stay beautiful. We'll see you around. Bye, everyone.